What's going on, folks? This is your boy Quan here, and today I want to go with another segment of why you should learn with another martial arts and why I think you should learn grappling. Grappling, pretty much any martial art that involves getting real close and grabbing somebody and possibly putting them either using the ground to put them to sleep or to get a point, sportsmanlike, or to drag them to the ground and then putting them in a pretzel, if you will, or put them to sleep. Different ways to analogize it, but one of the three martial arts that pop in my head when I think about any kind of grappling is, from my experience, judo. From others, jujitsu, which is very popular. And then, of course, you have any kind of wrestling, Greco wrestling, most wrestling. Except maybe WWE, but I don't know. It's still there. There's still a lot of stuff where you have to get close and grab, but you gotta probably know at least some of the basics in the WWE, the showy wrestling. But why learning grappling, I think, is very important is because, one, it teaches you how to be comfortable with people in your space. Let me explain. All right, so the main advantage for grappling is that pretty much it deals with a closer range. Now, let's say that you are a boxer or a puncher, if you will. Your optimal range might be like this. Or if you're throwing close range hooks, it might be like this. Now, that also puts me in range for their punches, but this is the more optimal range. And if you know boxing or any good hand martial arts, maybe even karate, taekwondo, kyudo, you will be able to deflect or dodge those techniques while being able to execute on yours. Kicking martial arts, or a combination of punching and kicking, they can deal with two different ranges. One is punching and one is kicking. Kicking, you can go even a little bit farther out and you still could be able to do damage. Now, with grapplers could be a little bit shorter, if not the shortest of the three ranges. So we got kicking, the longest, punching, middle ground, even with hooks can be close range. But then you have grapplers who are like this. And most of the time in the rule of any kind of grappling art, the closer you are to your target, whether you grab onto them really close or have a good grip on them, the better you can execute certain techniques. Now, when you're dealing with the grappler, and if you happen to have some grappling experience, then it narrows down to the factors of either who has the better technique, who has the better skill, who has the better strategy, or in most cases, always in a fight, who has that dog in him, who wants it more. But keep that in mind, that grappler space is not only different because it's close, there's also more advantages because 9 times out of 10, unless the person has either trained in a grappling scenario or has done even a mixture, like MMA, Kichikimbo, and certain styles, most people are kind of ill-experienced with grappling. In fact, most people would think they know some grappling just by, watching some Muay Thai fights. But remember, Muay Thai is a mixture. It has kicking, has punching, it has elbows. And even then, you still gotta know how to execute that effectively. So grapplers are very comfortable with getting close because not only is it good practice and good drilling that's gonna save them, but most of the time, some people are not that comfortable just doing grappling. Another advantage that grapplers has is the contact with the ground. Now, some martial arts happen to be able to go with a little bit of things on the ground, but most of the time they want to stay away from it. However, multiple grappling martial arts either begin standing and then start on the ground, or some of them start on the ground and then work on some techniques that work on bringing people down to the ground, aka takedowns. For me, judo is throws, so I'm comfortable standing and trying to take people to the ground. Now, there are different ways to do that, and once people are on the ground, this also confirms whether they know how to grapple or not, because you'll see people who know how to move on the ground. You know, got shrimping, you got a lot of moving techniques, and then you have people who, when they're on the ground, it's like they become little babies. They don't know what to do, and that kind of sets the tone as to who knows how to handle the ground versus the person who does. And on top of that, when you have also done some grappling arts, especially takedown arts, everyone has their own way of soaking the damage from being thrown onto the ground, which means they know how to take it without getting any crucial damage or a knockout by being thrown. For me, from my judo experience, it's from brick falls. To where let's say if I was to fall right here, I'll do a small little brick fall that would spread out the force that I'm taking from the ground, and because of that, I'm not being gassed because I got thrown to the ground, or worse, I don't have my head hit the ground and then I have a concussion, which is bad, by the way. But that's the main advantages that grappling arts have, that pretty much when it comes to the ground, is that they know how to maneuver the ground, they know how to use the ground to their advantage. And for me, even with like judo, aikido, and hapkido, we do throws not because they seem cool, not because they seem like, the best thing to do. We also use those throws because technically the ground is our friend, and we need our friend to help us take out an opponent. And sometimes nothing is gonna hit harder than the ground. So that's why, especially for me, my judo and aikido and hapkido background, that's why pretty much I find it very efficient that once you get to know how to do takedowns, once you get to know how to do crazy good throws, then pretty much getting close to someone and using what you have around you is the best case scenario. So that's my take on pretty much why you should learn grappling arts. Pretty much from my experience, it's good because it gets you comfortable with people being in your space, so that not only they happen to be more kind of intimidating. When you learn grappling enough, it's like, oh, you're in the perfect space for me to throw you, to choke you out, to start wrestling with you. It gets you comfortable with that distance. And then on top of that, not only giving you the comfortability to do certain things of that nature, but being comfortable with the ground and using it not only as your playground, but also as one of your punches and kicks, as you would in other martial arts. And on top of that, doing any kind of grappling can also get you comfortable with close spaces, because claustrophobia can be a thing that you might want to get over. If you are interested in getting over claustrophobia or the fear of being in tight spaces, I would suggest that you take up a grappling art. Why? Because pretty much you're having someone always constantly in your space. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you do it. And I speak on this not from my experience, but also from a student's experience that I remember teaching that got him. He pretty much worked in very closed, tight-knit spaces, crawl spaces, if you will. But then after doing grappling enough times, he finally got used to, doing stuff in crawl spaces. And it even got to the point that now when I bump into him, he actually goes out to do some jiu-jitsu tournaments and still practices jiu-jitsu to this day. So get out there, get some grappling in. Like I said, my suggestions I would suggest is, from my experience, judo. Then of course you have the popular jiu-jitsu, and then you have any kind of wrestling that actually has some ground to it, Greco-Roman, maybe some collegiate wrestling when you think about it. Those are very good grappling martial arts. What is your take? Please, if this helps, please like, share, subscribe. I plan to do a lot of different why you should learn this, whether it be martial arts, whether it be some nerd hobbies and games, whether it be even some artistic or more things that you should try to learn to help better your life. But with that being said, little confidence, be eccentric, stay awesome. Deuces.